Hi, it's Michelle from Bits and Pieces Paper Lab, and I'm here today to share another fun card tutorial. So this one is a Z-fold card with a pop-out window, I guess, a shaped little window. So this is a birthday card, obviously. It's got a little cupcake in it, and I'm going to teach you how to make this today. Now you can grab the file at the link below for just $1. You can grab it from my shop. Basically, you're just covering the fees to download it. And once you have that downloaded, we'll get ready to start creating. Let me first kind of show you the mechanism of how this works. When you get the pieces cut out, you might be a little bit confused. So this is the Z fold that opens up, but this actually slides inside here. So this is the front of the card, and then this piece slides inside like this, and that's where the Z fold goes. Now, once the card's closed, there's also a piece that goes on the front that you can use pattern paper or another contrasting color to just kind of make it pop. So that's kind of how the base of the card goes together. I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down, and then we'll work on the next part. Okay, so I've got my inside piece glued down. And just to reiterate, you're going to, this piece right here, it's only adhered from here over, and you're going to center this along the inside of the card. This is all loose. The two Z folds on the end are loose. They're not adhered to anything yet. And then when the card is closed, we're going to go ahead and adhere this on the front. I like to use pattern paper for this front piece. What is going on with my glue? It's like stuck, and then it will all of a sudden squirt out. Okay, so this piece, you just want to be really careful as you're lining it up that you've got an even border all the way around. So this right here, you want to even all the way around. That will kind of help show you where to place it. All right, so we've got that part done. And then these two little pieces, when it's closed, you can see on this, you've got these two little flaps. I like to put pattern paper there. That's totally optional, but I just like the look of the contrast there. Okay, sorry, I had to switch out my glue there because it's just being weird today. So I'm going to adhere these little strips. Again, I'm going to try to center them. I am like perpetually a kindergarten gluer. I promise you. I just cannot glue things. So part of that was my glue's fault, but it always oozes out on me. Okay, so we've got those two little pieces adhered down. We want to let those dry. And that way when it's folded shut, you really only see one of them. But when you open it, you see both. All right, so now we've got kind of the base of the card assembled. Let's work on our little cupcake. So the cupcake piece, actually, there's a bottom and a top piece, and it's layered on to a white piece. It kind of looks like it's a cutout, but it's, you know, like this piece isn't separate, but you're actually, in the cutout, you'll see there's like a white cupcake base layer, and then you layer these two pieces on. So the first thing you want to do is adhere. I'm going to use foam dots. I just like the look of foam dots on some of these layers. So I'm going to use foam dots on my little cupcake base. And this is going to go right. Again, making sure that I'm layering such that it's like perfectly spaced around the edges. That's kind of how you can tell where to space it. And I'm going to put my chocolate cupcake on. Does anyone else just love frosting? I could eat a cupcake without the frosting and I wouldn't even miss it. I mean, I could eat a cupcake without the cake and just have just a cupcake liner full of frosting, and that would be like the perfect cupcake for me. I love frosting. Okay, so you can see how I've used foam to kind of pop that up. That's our little cupcake. Okay, so that piece is done. Next, let's work on the little candle. So you've got a base candle piece, and then there's two pieces for the candle. The top piece has the cutout, and the bottom piece is just solid. So you could do like orange underneath if you wanted your flame. I chose yellow glitter and just yellow cardstock to kind of just give it kind of a contrast. And I'm going to glue those together. Now, the trick here is you might think that you're going to glue that candle onto the cupcake, but you're not. The candle is actually attached to the top of the card. So see that? It's not touching the cupcake at all. So you're just going to place a bit of glue on the front of the card, just right above where the cupcake will be. And you want it to kind of dangle down so that it does look like it's attached to the cupcake when the card is closed. So just like that. And then I'm going to use another foam dot to pop up my flame. And this just gets layered, just kind of overlapping that candle. So it looks like that. So right now I have a hole with a candle, no cupcake included. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is adhere the cupcake here. So in order to get it perfectly placed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the card closed and I'm going to hold it really tightly with my hands. And I'm going to place glue just along this edge. This is where my cupcake is going to be adhered. It's only adhered along that very edge. I'm going to tuck this under the candle and I'm lining it up in the hole just like that. So I'm using the hole on the front of the card to kind of guide where I'm placing stuff. That way when it's closed, it will peek through. And you really kind of need to let that dry before you mess with it so you don't accidentally jostle it and get it off center. So I'm going to let that dry for a second, but you can see how it's only attached on that very edge. All right, so let's let that dry for just a second. All right, now we are going to work on the little words here. So I'm going to go ahead and place wishes first. And one thing I like to do when I'm placing individual letters like this, I figure out where the center of the word is. So in this case, since there's 6 letters, the center is roughly right here between the S and the H. So I start in the middle and work out. It just helps me kind of get things lined up a little better. So we'll start with the S. And I want these to be pretty much along the bottom, and I'm going to center that S. There I go with my crazy gluing again. Oh, sorry, that was off camera. I really like liquid glue for making cards because my other favorite glue is Tombow mono adhesive, which I used for years and years. But I felt like once you place that down, you're pretty much stuck. You don't have a second to move things around. Where these liquid glues, they hold tight, but you have a second to move them around. And the other thing is, I've been doing paper crafts for a really long time. I actually designed cutting files for a company for a while, so I've made thousands of things, lots of dimensionals, and I noticed that the things that I made with liquid glue are still put together. Like things that I have in my closet that I've made 5 or 6 years ago are still holding tight. And then some of the things I used mono, the tape runner on, started to fall apart. And so that really convinced me that liquid glue is the way to go. It just seems to hold firmer. So we've got our little wishes here. The other thing I like about both Barely Arts glue and Art Glitter glue is that they dry clear. So even if you're a kindergartner, when it comes to gluing like I am, it doesn't matter because it will dry and no one can see it. So I've got my little wishes down, and then there's 2 pieces for birthday. There's a matte layer and then a finer point layer. So I'm going to glue these together first, and then I'll place them on my card. I buy all of my paper from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop, and this holographic paper is one of my favorites. It's just so cool, and it adds something pretty unexpected and special to your card. So you can see how the light just kind of catches that shimmery rainbow. Okay, so I've got that assembled, and then now we're going to put this on the front of the card, and it does peek out over the opening just a bit. You can see how it looks there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put glue on the very bottom of this title. I don't want to put it along the top, or else I'm actually going to be gluing it down where I don't want it to be glued. Just make sure you get quite a bit on the bottom there so that it will hold tight. And then it does peek over that opening just a bit, like that. Push it down. And that is it. This card looks so much more complicated than it is. Once you get all the pieces cut out, it really goes together quickly. So there's our little cupcake. It folds into the window. And one thing that's nice is when the card is closed and you let go, it kind of catches on the edge there, so it doesn't completely unfold itself. So it kind of stays closed by itself. Now you can do like I did here and put some sprinkles on your cupcake, decorate your little cupcake however you want, but that is it. Easy card. Again, be sure and grab the $1 file if you want to make this. You can find that link down in the description, and I cannot wait to see your versions of it. Thanks.